Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? So, like in my baseball banter video I had with Mike on Saturday, I'm still battling this damn cold or whatever I have. To all you guys out there watching this, whatever this shit is that's going around, it sucks because I have felt like shit since Thursday, and I still feel like trash these whatever X amount of days it's been later. So, apologize. There a little bit of rasp in my voice, and I'm going to try not to cough up a storm here. And we're going to get on and touch what was another week. One of the closing in on one of the final weeks of the 2023 season for our beloved Detroit Tigers. So this week it was the Yankees and White Sox. And this Yankee series, again, the Tigers go and face this team that hasn't been very good offensively. And they drop 2 of 3. And to add insult to injury to this series, Matt Manning, yet again, gets hit on a comebacker from Giancarlo Stanton. It was 119 off the bat and breaks his foot. It didn't break in the same spot as he got hit on the comebacker earlier this season. It broke a little bit higher than that. He came off the mound right away. He was essentially done. And now he's gone for the rest of the year. And much like last year, Matt Manning was really starting to find his own. His ERA was well under 4. He was starting to get deeper into ball games. He had I'm really getting worried about him because every time you see him on the mound, he's always twitching. He's always moving. It always looks like he has a lower back injury. You know, it's his forearm. It's his lower back. This one, you can't really talk too much crap on. I mean, to get hit in the same foot twice on line drive comebackers, I don't think it's anything with his delivery mechanics at all. I mean, he's not like a guy who falls off the mound tremendously to one side like a Mitch Williams kind of thing. It's more of a freak accident, but he has just had so many weird injuries and things that keep him off the pitching mound. And it's really annoying because every single time he seems to get hurt, he seems to be finding his own and coming in to maybe discovering something for future success. And then we see him come back and he'll struggle for a little bit, get hurt again, come back, find something, and then get hurt again. And it seems I don't know how this guy's ever going to build any kind of consistency. And I don't know if he's ever going to make 25 starts in a season. So, like I said, this was such a fluke, but to see him pitching as well as he has in those last, 5 or 6 starts, and to really see the fastball command clean up, and really see him start to go deeper in games. Like he had that one game where he came out with lower back stiffness when he was about to go 7, and then he did go 7. And to see him get hurt, and now it's going to end his season, it's so annoying because you want to see this guy make close to 25 starts. You want to see him continue to build on his success. You want to see him continue to get out, lineup after lineup 3 times over and just make starts. And he just hasn't been able to do it. So, add insult to injury, Tigers end up losing 2 of 3 to the Yankees in this series, and they lose Matt Manning. And there was a positive, though. The Tigers absolutely mutilated Carlos Rodon that last game of the series. I didn't get to watch the first game, but I got to watch the last 2 games of that series. I did get to catch the ass whooping that was the Carlos Rodon start. Spencer Torkelson, his bat has come way back alive. He had a 2 home run game this series, and now he's at 27 home runs. I'm really hoping that he's going to get to 30. He only has to hit 3 more home runs. I don't know how many multi-home run games he has this year. It's got to be 4 or 5 because he's done it quite a few times now. But man, would I love to see him, a guy that everyone was dogging and calling Torkel bust, get to 30 home runs. He's got over a league average OPS plus, get his OPS maybe to like 760 or 770, get his average up closer to 240, and he's hitting a lot of extra base hits again. Like he had a few doubles on the homestand against the White Sox. Like I said, he's up to 27 home runs. So he made a pick the other day, that last game of the Chicago White Sox series, where Andy Ibanez, who's played a good second base, threw to Zach McKinstry, and Zach McKinstry made like this crazy throw because of the player sliding on him, and Torkelson picked this super short hop at first to get an inning-ending double play with the tying run at third with one out, which saved the win for Sawyer Gipson-Long, which we're going to touch on him too. Absolutely outstanding play by him. Kerry Carpenter's starting to hit the ball a little bit more again, so that's good. Good to see him doing his thing. Matt Vierling decided to come alive, and he had a 4-hit game in New York, and then he had a home run against the Chicago White Sox, his first since I think like June. It had been forever since he had really showed any kind of extra base power, but it was nice to see, the Tigers do that to Carlos Rodon, and kind of they may have whooped the Tigers' ass the last couple times. What was it? So they played 7 games over the last 3 weeks. But to see, them destroy Rodon like that was pretty nice. And to see Torkelson a couple home runs. I don't know who the last guy to hit 30 home runs for the Tigers was. It may have been Jay Up in like 2016. I don't think JD ever hit 30 home runs as the Tiger. That one season in 17 when they traded him, he definitely would have. But they traded him to Arizona, and then he hits like almost 50 total with Arizona. So, but I want to say Justin Upton was the last Tiger to hit 30 home runs. So, Torkelson hopefully should get there with a couple more good weeks. Hopefully have another multi-home run game. So after that ass whooping in New York, they come home, play the White Sox, scored 10 runs, and then Mike Clevenger, who I believe the Tigers dropped 5 or 6 runs on last weekend in Chicago. The Tigers had a 10-0 victory against them. Come out, and he had shut down the Tigers' offense. Was it a pretty game? And then the Tigers end up taking the last 2 of that series against the White Sox. Skubal pitched really well, which led into the Sawyer Gipson-Long start. Now, for all you guys that have been watching my channel here for the last year and a half or so, there is a video that got a few hundred views when the Tigers had that trade deadline last year, and they traded Michael Fulmer for Sawyer Gipson-Long. And I had, in my rambling and when I was absolutely furious, I called him Sawyer Limp Dick Long motherfucker because I was really angry. And I specifically said that we got a double-A reliever who's probably never going to touch the major leagues. Well, when the Tigers initially got him, such was the case. He really didn't improve until this year. This was the year that Scott Harris said they revamped his pitch mix. I think they added a cutter or a slider to his pitch mix and changed up the usage of his pitches. And he went from a guy that was getting kind of hit around and I guess didn't really have like a true strikeout pitch to now where he was getting he was striking out almost 30% of the hitters he was facing in the minor leagues. And he went through Toledo, I guess had some success. And then he came up and made his debut. And he had no hits through the first 4 innings. I think he ended up striking out 8 or 9. And he actually looked really good. He's definitely got a really good slider. His fastball command's pretty good. And he almost reminds me of Zach Wheeler's delivery, how he hides the ball in his arm slot. He looks kind-ish like Zach Wheeler on the mound. I don't know. I'm going to say I was impressed by the stuff. I don't know if I want to go out on a limb and say this guy could be a 5th starter for us next year. But to give him, 3 more starts for the year's end, I'm excited to see what he's got. That first start was good. But, that White Sox series, as much as I come on here and I bitch about how bad the Tigers are, and I come on here and bitch every week about them slow playing guys in the minor leagues, I will say watching that White Sox team compared to this Tigers team is like night and day. That is literally a AAA team in Chicago right now. How bad their defense is, the inability to throw to bases, the inability to turn routine plays, it is absolutely pathetic. pathetic watching those guys play baseball. Now, I've watched a lot. I don't go out every night and watch White Sox games because I don't give a shit about the White Sox. But to have watched as many games against all the games that they played against the Tigers this year, and to watch them progressively get worse and worse. Like Sosa had a bad game in second. There was a play where Andre Lipsius hit a ball and he slipped going around first base, and he should have been a dead duck, and they couldn't throw to first. I think it was Sosa, he missed Vaughn. It was an absolute horrible throw. And there was just so many defensive miscues. Watching that team and watching some of the swings and some of the chase, Sawyer's Gipson-Long's debut was good, but I kind of want to see him up against a team that is a little more disciplined on the strike zone, because some of the swings he was getting on some of these pitches, I'm not trying to discredit him because, like I said, he had a good debut and his stuff looked good. But some of these swings he was getting, a decent team, like not even a great team, a decent team doesn't give you those swings. And they're going to make you be in the strike zone a little bit more. Because like some of the strikeouts that they got, like on Luis Robert Jr., and some of the swings like by Eloy Jimenez, they've just were taking horrifically bad swings off of him. And I mean, just like I said, swings that good teams probably aren't going to take. So I'm stoked for the guy. I'm happy that Harris and company, figured something out, and he was able to go from being a reliever or starter in Double-A for the Twins, who had an ERA of 7, to where the Tigers worked him out and, got him to the big leagues, where he was having success and striking out like 30% of the hitters he was facing. So I'm never going to sit there and try to poo-poo anybody at all. Like if you can contribute and you can be a player that is going to help the team win, like I'm all for it. And it never hurts to have pitching depth because you're tested. I mean, this year and last year have been perfect examples of why it never hurts to have too much pitching. And speaking of pitching, Alex Faedo coming out of the bullpen, that's been a nice little transition. And I think him being a reliever for the long term, I think it might be kind of the equivalent of when the Tigers moved Michael Fulmer to the bullpen because Fulmer couldn't start anymore because he was having too many injuries. I honestly think the Tigers, if they keep Faedo reliever, it might be better for him versus trying to see if he could get lineups out 3 times over, because I don't think he has the stuff to get lineups out 3 times over. He's always had issues so far in the big leagues getting out left-handers consistently, but it seems like since he's been in the bullpen, his slider is playing a little bit differently. It seems like it's got more break on it, and he's throwing a couple different versions of it. He's got this one slider now that's almost like a curveball, and he's got another one that's more of like a swing and miss. And his fastball's playing up. Like, he's living at 96, 98 right now. He's not, trying to save bullets to get through the game. He's out there just letting it eat. And I kind of like this. So I think, maybe letting Faedo be a guy that, could take Cisneros' spot next year in the bullpen. It might be better for him because he might be a guy that gives you 2 innings. He's more capable of it, being a guy that's been a former starter. And, he might be a guy that his stuff just plays better. Well, I mean, it just might not. It does. He can't get lineups out 3 times. So maybe getting you 3 to 6 outs is a lot better than him trying to get 5 innings out of him and potentially facing lineups 3 times over. So I actually really like him coming out of the pen. Him and Brisky, I think could be nice pieces next year, and continuing keeping that bullpen depth for the Tigers, keep churning it along with whatever potential losses they have this upcoming season. There was, like I was talking about earlier, there was a game Matt Vierling ended up hitting a home run. I want to say it was the third game of the series or second game of the series. I can't remember. But to finally see Matt Vierling start to have some better at-bats, Jesus criminy, did the Tigers absolutely need that. I mean, he has absolutely been like a dead battery since June. He has had no extra base power. His at-bats have not been that good. And to see him get that home run, it was a wall scraper, but it all counts the same. I was happy to see that. Like I was saying about Sawyer Gipson-Long, happy to see he did good, but I'm waiting to see what's going to happen against a team that's better than the White Sox, because there was some pitches left over the middle of the plate that were not hit because the White Sox are just a horrifically awful team. Stoked for Torkelson getting closer to 30. Glad to see Kerry Carpenter hitting better. Starting to get some base knocks, and maybe he was trying to get a little too home run happy because he how what kind of month of August he had. Tarek Skubal pitched well. Uh, I'm trying to think who else I want to touch on before I go and end this video. I want Andre Lipsius. So I don't want to shit on Andre Lipsius yet because I don't know enough about him and I haven't watched enough of him. But so far, what I've saw, I can kind of see why scouts have said he doesn't really have like any kind of like special tools. Um, you don't look like for a guy that's going to hit for a lot of power. The way he swings, I don't see how the contact's ever going to be consistent. And him at third, I think I would rather see Matt Vierling there than him. I don't think he plays that good of a third base. His arm is good, but he had kind of a rough. He's kind of had a rough go of it since coming up. Now Parker Meadows hasn't hit much either. Since that first week, the league has definitely adjusted to him. I think the league quickly figured out that Parker Meadows can hit breaking balls pretty good over the middle of the plate, and I think the league has quickly figured out that Parker Meadows can hit inside fastballs pretty good. But if you start seeing what the pitchers are doing to him now, it's a lot of breaking balls on the outer or lower third of the plate, and they're really throwing him away, trying to get him to hit the ball to the opposite field and not trying to let him pull it so much. I felt bad for him because he had a broken bat single to second, and then he had a piss missile just get absolutely robbed, and then his last at bat in that White Sox series, he hits a ball right back to the pitcher that he absolutely mutilated. So I have no doubts that Parker's going to adjust to the league and he's going to figure it out. He needs to hit the pitches that he is getting, and I think he just needs just some more at bats. That's all it is, because he's playing a hell of a center field. I was talking to my brother, and I absolutely love watching him play center field because this guy is so fast and his routes he runs are so crisp that he gets the balls that so many guys have to dive for, and he gets to him standing up. And I think the bat's going to play because you don't come up and have the extra base power that he showed right away, have that walk-off, and not have some sort of discipline and not have some sort of, bat-to-ball ability, which he does. But like I said, the league has quickly figured out that, he kind of struggles on breaking balls away, and he struggles on pitches on the outer third, it seems, right now. And I think he's so geared up to try to cover breaking balls that he's missing fastballs that he should hit. And everything he's hitting, he's kind of rolling over and just drilling it into the ground. He's had a lot of ground outs at second base so far. But give him the rest of the year. I'll be excited to see what he does next year because he's legit. But Andre Lipsius, I don't know if he's going to be a guy that's going to be like a 4A player or a guy that, is a utility dude. Because I don't think he's anything that special defensively. I don't see what's there with the bat because I think he was only hitting like 260 or 270 in Toledo and he had like 10 home runs. So I don't know. I can kind of see why, if you looked at scouting reports, he has such mid grades on just about everything, because he doesn't really wow you with one particular tool. Nothing at the plate. He doesn't seem extremely fast. His arm strength from third's decent, but he doesn't really play that good of a third base. I think Matt Vierling, for not having played in third really much all year till recently, plays a better third than he does, and I think so does Andy Ibanez. So I don't know. It seems like his playing time is quickly gotten sapped up a little bit too. It kind of might be like how Cody Clemens was, where the Tigers, when they brought him up, and then Cody Clemens went 0 for 18, and then they were giving him all these games in a row, and then all of a sudden he wasn't getting played hardly at all. And then by end of the year, Cody Clemens was rarely ever getting any kind of back-to-back starts unless he hit a home run the day before. So maybe Lipsius is that as well. I don't know. But this is just early thoughts from what I see. I don't know if I see a guy that's going to be there long term or be on the team long term, because nothing really stands out about him. But like I said, I give Parker Meadows some time. I think he's gonna be all right. And I'm gonna end this video by saying we're gonna find out this week if Riley Green is done for the season. I think there's less than 20 games to go. They're waiting for the swelling in the elbow to go down. I think he's. If I had to take a guess, not knowing the future, obviously, I think he's probably done for the year. They're just going to let him. There's no reason to rush him back. There's no reason for him to play and potentially hurt something. And then what was a 10-day IL stint turns into he needs a surgery because he was trying to swing and throw, and then he might miss the start of spring training. Tigers need him healthy. He's their best player. He's their best overall player. So Riley Green's probably going to be done for the year. They announced Austin Meadows. Shock is done for the year. Who could believe it? Played a total of 7 games. And I said after this week in Tigers baseball this year, how the fuck is someone who can't deal? How could someone who has mental illness disability with his head because he's got all this anxiety shit? How can he go on the 10-day IL and possibly feel better after 10 days if whatever is bothering him is keeping out of an everyday lineup? And such was true. It wasn't 10 days. It was the entirety of the season. So he played a total of 7 games. So he's done. Riley's done. Most likely Matt Manning's done. So I don't know. Injuries start to pile up. The way it's looking, Justin Malloy and Colt Keith are definitely not coming up this year because it's already almost mid-September. And they're still down in Toledo. So I think what we see is what we see, barring any injuries, and we're just going to have to enjoy what baseball's left with the squad that's out on the field. So looking forward to see what Sawyer Gipson-Long, I can finally say his name without using the F word, is going to do. Hopefully Tork gets to 30, and I'm excited to watch this Reds team that comes in because they're a pretty good squad. See Ellie and Matt McClain, Spencer Steer, Joey Votto, all those guys. So we'll see what's got going on. So I got for you guys this week. I appreciate you watching as always. I'll be back next week. Have a good one. Go Tigers.